Hey, Francis, can you hear me again? Still?
Yep, loud and
Uh,
clear.
all right. So we are now on the seventh book lovers club. So that means we are now in the second half of the year. So I can't believe we already discussed, six times. And then so this will be our seventh, and this is gonna be unique. But before we dive into that, if you watch the last episode, I kind of mentioned that we're gonna lose the Zoom, but the university decided, to push through with a subscription for I don't know yet another how many years because yeah, it's a hassle to look for other how do you say this video conference tools. There are a lot, but I think
Yeah.
most of us have gotten used to Zoom, so I think yeah they maintained it. But yeah, today, like we mentioned, we're gonna be discussing the rest of the stories in Ted Chiang's stories of your life. So earlier this year we discussed story of your life and the corresponding movie that was based on it, which is Arrival. So here if you have this short story collection, as you can see here, there are eight short stories overall. So number one, Tower of Babylon, and then followed by Understand, then Division by Stero. Of Story of Your Life, we're gonna skip that. Seven to two letters, The Evolution of Human Science, Hell is the Absence of God, and Liking What You See, a documentary. Okay, so typically the most that we discuss, France, is like two, right? Two short stories. So I'm I'm not actually sure how we're gonna approach this. So do you want like maybe talk about them in order, or we talk about our least favorite first and then going to the most? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll reserve the least favorite last.
Okay, least favorite last. So maybe you can pick up what do you want to go first. Uh,
Yeah, I think we should go with Tower of Babylon
Tower
first.
of
It's
Babylon. Good
very
choice.
good, very
Very, yeah.
awesome.
It's also the first short story of this collection. Okay, so without further ado, yeah, maybe I think we can now. Usually, what we do is if there's a short story, we give a non-spoilery breakdown, and then that's with a spoiler. But I think since we'll be discussing seven, I think we can now go to the breakdown right away. Oh, Francis got disconnected. Let me wait here a little bit if we see if he comes back. But yeah, Francis and I decided to do Ted Chiang because he's like one of my favorite modern authors. Oh, I think Francis is back. Let's wait for him a little bit. Okay, as I was saying, he's like one of my favorite authors. Let me reply because Francis is oh, I think Francis is back now. Can you hear me, France? Yeah, you got. I think you got disconnected in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Hello, hello.
got disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, we can go with the. We should go right away with the like a summary of the Tower of Babylon with the spoilers included because we can't afford to summary without the spoilers because we're gonna be talking about seven short stories. Okay, so maybe you can start with us, France. What Tower of Babylon is about?
yeah. As the title says, it's about the Tower of Babylon, like the Tower of Babel in the Bible. So,
Yep.
the Babylonians were constructing a huge.
Oh, I think Francis might have a problem with his internet right now. So yeah, Francis mentioned that Tower of Babylon is a very literal, like there's a tower in Babylon, the medieval age or something. Uh, and yeah, let's just wait for Francis again. He's connecting. Yeah, maybe there's like a bit of a problem with the internet in his side. It's been raining a lot. There've been like a storm, so maybe in right now, Francis is in his central Visayas. I mean the national capital region. So there's a bit of a divide, but we live in an age where even with that divide, we now have this nice how do you say this way to communicate. So let me try and okay. So if I can actually pause the recording if Francis gets disconnect again. But I think yeah, he's back now. Uh,
Yeah,
France.
sorry
Okay,
about
yeah.
that.
So I think yeah, no, it's all right. Yeah. So let's see if we can maintain it. But yeah, if it keeps dropping, then maybe we can do another time. But yeah, let me
Yeah.
yeah. So you were saying Tower of Babylon. So there's like a literal tower right in Babylon.
Yeah, they
Yeah, yeah.
constructed a literal tower in Babylon so that they would be able to reach the heaven. So this story is about um Hilalum.
Hilalum, yeah.
Yeah,
Hilalum. Yes.
Hilalum. Yeah, he's a miner, and together with these other fellow miners, they came from Elam, at
Mm,
least.
yes.
Yeah, I think around Babylon. So they were there was a huge need of miners, and they were asked to work for the Tower of Babylon. So you'd be thinking, why why miners in a tower? So
Yes.
actually, the tower was already completed, and it has reached the heaven on what they called Yahweh's vault. So they called the top of the world Yahweh's vault. So Hilalum and his fellow miners were tasked to mine the top of the world, and they went there together with other workers from pullers from Babylon and other places, and also they went with some Egyptian uh, masons who were, as we know, Egyptians were famous for their
Mm.
stoneworking abilities with the pyramid and their other marvelous, awesome ancient structures. So yeah, the I forgot how tall the tower was, but it took them, I
I
think,
think the way
years.
Ted Chan described it is that it's so tall that like there's a point where if you're like somewhere I don't know in the middle, like if you look up, it like you can't see like the top, and then if you look down, you also can't see under. Like all you see are the extent of the tower going up and going down.
Yeah,
I think that was yeah, that's like an intense description.
yeah. So also the tower was so tall that eventually the workers there also settled in the central part of the
Mm,
towers. They were living there. They were even growing plants.
yeah.
As mentioned, that tower was so tall that
I think yeah, Francis is disconnected again. So yeah, so he was this tower is insanely tall that at the like somewhere like there are like tiers people begin having villages in there because it takes time to like go down. It's not practical to always be bringing food from the foot on the way up and vice versa. So there are like tiers of villages. So as you go up, there's like a village here. They actually have a farm, where they grow their own food. There's like a village, people have families there, they have kids. It's really a literal village because going from there to down will take like months or in fact a year, so it's not practical to always move up and down. So people actually created how do you say this, people actually began settling their villages in there. So while waiting for Francis, let me also just try the pause function. Let's see if Francis will come back. So I'll return soon. Oh, I think Francis just connected. So yeah, like I was saying, people will be like staying on tier. So Franz, you were talking about the villages
yeah,
on the towers.
yeah, on the tower.
Yeah,
So
because they can't anymore, like it's a waste of time if they like go down and then deliver food up. So they grow their own food like at different intervals of the tower, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they also serve like caravan stops where
Yeah.
a team of cart pullers will deliver to one part of the tower, and then
And then go
the
back.
next team will, yeah, they will
Yeah.
go back, and then those on that level will be the ones to deliver to the next level, and so on.
Yeah.
So
Like a relay or something, right? Like,
yeah,
okay,
like
you're yeah, yeah.
so
Hello, hello. Francis is still connected, but I don't hear any audio coming from Francis. So yeah, there are like series of relays where they especially when they deliver, because when they were building it on the way up, they need, you know, bricks and all the materials and all these things. And so in order to go up, you know, uh they can't just like bring the first batch and then build and then go down again. So it has to be, as it goes higher and higher, there are like a first batch of people who will bring the batch of bricks, and then another, okay, then you go down and bring the next batch, and then another one will go up until, you know, they can build it very high. Okay, I think Francis is reconnecting again here. Let's
yeah,
try. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, so we're talking about the relay fronts.
yeah.
Uh,
So
yep.
yeah, as they went higher, they passed many of those villages, and
Mm,
um yeah, they even got to a point where they could see the sunset far away,
yep, yep.
and yeah, that was, yeah, I
I think
think
yeah, he described
they
it
were,
something like it was delayed, right? Like some part
yeah,
of the tower are already seeing nighttime, but then like some people they can see over the curvature. Then yeah, for them it's still like sunset.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, they went up until they reached the bolts of heaven, and
Mm.
it's they started digging. So when they were digging,
Uh,
they
Digging,
also
quote
thought,
unquote, going up.
yeah, digging going upwards,
Digging upwards. Yeah.
or is it going upwards? Because
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Hilalo
yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
that
yeah, 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 yeah.
when they reach a certain point, they could no longer they could no longer know which is up or down, so they would
Yep.
even lie down belly on the floor, clutching it, fear of falling upwards or downwards,
Yes.
because they could no longer sense which is up or down.
Mhm.
So yeah, while they were digging on the Yahweh's vaults, uh, they also thought they also thought that there may be reservoirs of water that would come crashing down if they
Yep.
accidentally break on it. So that's where the Egyptian masons came in, because they were so good in um, stonework that they could make vault doors that would seal those tunnels and prevent uh, the water from the reservoir from rushing all throughout the uh, tunnels they mined, and caused them to drown.
Mhm.
So yeah, after a long time of digging, um, the Hilalom and a few of his Hilalom accidentally broke into one of those reservoirs, and they were far away from the door that the others uh, decided to close those
Yeah.
vault doors, so to prevent the flooding. So they ended up being trapped there, and his other co-workers, co-miners, were also swept up in the flood, and some of them drowned. But Hilalum um, Hilalum found decided to go through the fissure
Mm.
which the reservoir came from, and he tried to swim and got carried away by the current, and he was eventually then carried onto shore and found his way up uh, out of the water, and then finally
He thought it was
saw
heaven.
light. But yeah, he thought he was already in heaven, but when he went out of the cavern where he went out, he he found the caravan, and once he was fully he recovered some of his senses after the caravan people um helped him.
Yep.
He asked where he was, and the caravan people told him that they were between Elam and Babylon, I think,
Mm.
or somewhere outside Babylon, and that's
They know Babylon,
that's
yeah.
what. Yeah. Then I think that's when it dawned to him that he was back on Earth, and that for I think for an ancient person like him, where when he knows that the world was flat, and he thought he reached heaven already. That was mind-boggling, and he
Yeah, and also
finally,
yeah.
yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that was like the point where it became sci-fi. Like because when I was
Yeah.
reading it, I was like, so it feels like some sort of medieval, or historical like a short story, right? Like or some sort of like biblical anecdote or
Yeah.
something. But like I was like, where's the sci-fi here? Like I was waiting for sci-fi, and then the twist was bam. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think yeah, I would just like to emphasize, France. There were like you mentioned, like is it upward? There were like I like while I was reading, I was like highlighted I highlighted some passages, so I found this one very nice, right? Like it said here, Hilalum said nothing when they were like looking at the sunset. For the first time, he
Yeah.
knew night for what it was, the shadow of the earth itself cast against the sky. Yeah, so he didn't know like,
Yeah.
okay, night is just a shadow. But the one that I did, like one of the fact, like on their way up, France, there was like a family that they had that dinner named Kuda,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
he asked, "Have any of you ever visited Babylon?" And then the wife was like, "No, why would we? It's a long climb, and we have all we need, right?" So I don't know, like maybe she said it's a long climb. Did she mean because they'll go back and then they'll climb up again, or does she know that it's up there? And then like, why would I go to Babylon? It's a long climb. Yeah, so very subtle. And then another one, and then the husband, the Kuda, he said, and I lighted it here. He said something like,
Mhm.
"We live on the road to heaven. All the work that we do is to extend it further." And then very important, when we leave the tower, we will take the upward ramp, not the downward. So very nice foreshadowing, right? Because he said when we're gonna leave the tower, we're not leaving it going down, but
Yeah.
rather going up, which is funny because it's the same way. If you go up and then you still end up in Babylon. So yeah, very insane premise. And in fact, in the notes at the back, I think let me see. Yeah, I'm showing my Kindle copy and my actual copy because I don't like highlighting on physical books. I don't do that. So
Yeah.
because future readers, you don't want to feed them. He highlighted this must be important. It's fine on the Kindle because it's personal thing, but in the future, if some other people will read this, I don't want to highlight stuff for them. But yeah, I was saying at the back, how do you say that? There's like a guy, Tom Dish, who called this a story Babylonian science fiction. Yeah, as he described it. Yeah, so but it was it reminded me, France, of there's like two how do you say this, two short stories that came to mind while I was reading it. This one, uh notes on an ascent. So they're like it's like a very long stairs as well. But it's kind of the twist and all the ending is different, but the idea is the same. And You know who wrote this, Franz? This Notes on an Ascent.
No.
It's
Ted Chiang?
it's actually no. It's let me go to the cover page. It's actually let me see if the cover page. It's from a collection called A Field Guide to the Roads of Manila and Other Stories by Dean Francis Alfar.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So notes, yeah, it's that, and then I also remember another one. Let me see if I can share it here. I opened it very quickly. So there's like a collection, Franz, called so here there's a Japanese short story called Hey Come Out. It's from this the best Japanese science fiction stories. You see this textbook, right? So the best Japanese science fiction stories. So in the premise, so I think where was that? They explain in the premise what it is about. So let me just give you a very nice summary. So here it is. So the discovery of a deep hole has extraordinary impact on life in a small town, because the premise is that they found a hole that, like, it's kind of like it leads to nothing, right? And then, people were very curious, like they dump stuff in there, like it's like they found a like an infinite trash can, like they put whatever they want. It leads to nowhere. Like they couldn't see the end of it. But then, like some how do you say this? So they keep throwing stuff in there, and then some I think it was months later has elapsed. Eventually, those that the thing that they started throwing there was like falling from the sky. So something something very similar to the premise, where this one's kind of inverted, right? Because Tower of Babylon is
Mm,
like they're from the bottom, they go up, and then they
yeah.
go all the way back down. In here, it's like there's like a hole on the ground. They didn't know where it leads to, so they just throw whatever in there. But then eventually it began falling from the top, and it's a disaster because they threw a lot of insane stuff in that hole. So that was,
Mm,
yeah. So it reminded me of that story. I don't know if if these guys have read each other's story, but yeah, that was that's one of the things that I remembered. But in any case, yeah, so I stopped sharing here. And then, so you have any other things to add, Franz, about Tower of Babylon? I think it's one of the most, like, well, I read this before. Tower of Babylon is one of those that I didn't forget, like the premise and everything. It was, yeah. I still knew it even if I read it, very almost a decade ago.
yeah, one of the one things that I like about Tower of Babylon is how Ted Chiang was able to really put himself in a mindset of an ancient
Mm,
person, Babylonian, on their views on
yep.
about the earth, how it works, and that sort. And that was really one of the amazing. It really puts you there in place of Hilalum, makes the experience very authentic. Like you were really one of those ancient
Yeah.
people still
And he didn't, like,
discovering the world.
also, like, during that time, right, he didn't force our current cosmology.
Correct.
Of course, we know that the way Babylonians thought of the sky as, this some sort of ceiling that you can reach, we know that's
Yeah.
wrong. But it's really nice that Ted Chiang changed to the cosmology in a way that, from those people, oh yeah, we're right. Like, they even said, right, there's like a star that will crash. I think there was an incident where a star came crashing down or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was like, there's like a firmament, there was like a ceiling. And yeah, he didn't that so that was the difference. Like, it kind of like realist, but then up to that point they reach the sky and everything, it becomes science fictional. But yeah, it was definitely very well written.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's really one of the best parts where uh
Yep.
yeah, as I mentioned, it really puts you in the ancient person perspective.
Mm.
And
Mm.
um yeah, the looking at, I think if even now you'd be really amazed if
Yep.
you'd see a structure like that of Tower of Babylon, because I think even now it's quite impossible to construct a structure like that
Yeah,
um
no, yeah.
that would
That's like,
reach uh they haven't, yeah,
I think yeah,
in
after we realized that it's all empty space out there, I think, people stopped building, trying to reach the heavens, so to speak.
yeah, but I think there's in I forgot, in Gundam Double O,
Oh,
they featured
I
a structure there called the orbital elevators where they could
oh
reach the there's a I wouldn't really, I'm not sure if we can call it a satellite, but there's a ring around the Earth like
yeah,
a
I think I've heard
colony.
these structures before, like, and then there's like an
Yeah,
elevator going to the
yeah,
ground, something like that, right? Yeah, yeah,
going,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
would its other purpose is also to uh get even the orbital elevators have solar panels.
Mm,
It's one of its main functions was to deliver solar energy, the
mm,
electricity
yep,
generated by the solar in the ring
yep.
down to Earth, because
Mm-hmm,
during their time, the fossil fuel already ran out. So
mm.
that's how they resolved it.
So they
And
have to like
there were
maximize the
conflicts.
yeah.
Yeah, it also kind of featured the conflict in around Tower of Babel, where there were
Mm,
conflicts around those orbital elevators.
mm, yeah, but I've seen yeah these structures like I think Neil Stephenson's Seven Eves, for example, has I think I forgot it. I'm forgetting it at the top of my head. There's a sci-fi novel that is like that structure, like an elevator that goes all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
There's I forgot the name of it, but it was also a great novel. Yeah, I have to look it up. But in any case, yeah. So I think yeah that concludes our discussion for a very quick discussion for Tower of Babylon. So I think we now jump to understand. So let's do a very quick. I think yeah we can summarize this very quickly, right, Franz? Understand. There's like a guy. It's a story of a guy who drowned, and then he was like I forgot his name. I think it was Leon or something. He was like dying, and then they were like they put some neurological corrections in his brain. There's like something was like due to him drowning, and then he almost died. And then they replaced something in there, and then eventually the medicine that they used was doing something to his neurons, and then he's essentially becoming super smart.
Yeah, that's
And then yeah, and then he got very addicted. He got very addicted in like the other like he realized that the exponential way of him becoming smarter and smarter, and then he got addicted to the drug. And then he like he basically fooled those scientists already, because he was already reaching superhuman intelligence. And then he was very smart, and then he was studying like some higher learning stuff. He appreciated like the beauty about knowledge and all. But then eventually he discovered that there was like another guy who was also a smart as like a super intelligent like him. And then
yeah,
that guy, the problem with that guy is both of them are super smart, but then that other guy, his how do you say this, his priority is in the human society and in the biosphere. That's like what he
mm,
studied. And so they were like in conflict, because the main character doesn't care about humans. He only cares about learning and the beauty and the symmetry and all these things. However, the other guy is like, you can, if you just give them the chance, you can maximize, human beings and the stuff. And then they have this very nice how do you say this, face off. They went like, and then they were like, I think yeah, they were using language, the way, how do you say this, the way Ted Chiang wrote it is like using a like some sort of brackets, because it's not anymore in quotes. It's like they don't talk anymore using typical
yeah,
human language anymore, because they were like
correct.
super smart. And then they didn't come to an understanding, right? So that part, it reminded me of when Sherlock, in the Sherlock Holmes books, when Sherlock Holmes met his arch nemesis Moriarty for the first time.
Yeah,
It was like that, right? They have like
yeah.
a
I
face
was
off.
also getting that vibe, Sherlock Holmes
Yeah,
versus
yeah, Sherlock
Moriarty.
Holmes. Yeah, it's because that was some. that was like the essentially the premise, right? Like you can observe a lot
Mhm.
of things on something that an ordinary human cannot. And so yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, eventually there was like a at the end, he was like preparing. He was doing some weird attacks, right, on the
Yeah.
physiology of this other guy. I believe his name was Reynolds. So it was Leon, the main character, and then this other superhuman guy, Reynolds, and then Reynolds realized it. Then he did some counter attack. It was meant, that part right there, the last part. It is like very weirdly written because I believe Ted Chiang, like for a reader, we're not meant to understand that part. We're like we're like trying to make sense of a intellectual battle between two superhumans. So it was like very weird, very vague. But then eventually this other guy, he created something. He said there's like a there's like a group of stimuli or that you can set up, and then a code word that can basically kill a man, right? That's the way I understood it. And then he was like, he said, before we even met, you know I know that you've been listening to this, you saw these things, and then here's like the how should we say, the kill word. And then once he said it, the main character was like dead. And then the kill word was like understand. Hello, hello. Oh, I think Francis just disappeared again. So let me yeah, but I was saying understand. Yeah, it was a very nice descriptions of superhumans that were how do you say this, that were becoming more and more intelligent. So while we wait for Francis, let me just talk at the story notes that Ted Chiang said about this short story. So Ted Chiang said, uh, in fact, in his story notes at the back. So Ted Chiang mentioned that this is the oldest story in this volume, and then the initial idea was that someone, his college classmate, or roommate rather, was reading a short story, and then the protagonist only finds meaninglessness in everything he sees. That was like the premise. And then Ted Chiang asked, "What if you revert that and said, what if you find meaning and order in everything you saw?" And then, to quote Ted Chiang, he said, "To me, that suggested a kind of heightened perception, which in turn suggested super intelligence." Okay, so I started thinking about. So I was saying, Franz, in his story notes, how Ted Chiang came up with the idea. Hello. I
Yeah.
think yeah, yeah, okay. Francis is back now, yeah. But yeah, he said his roommate was reading a short story of a main character that only saw meaninglessness in everything that he saw. And then Ted Chiang asked, "What if you invert that? What if you make someone that can find the uh meaning and order in everything that you saw?" And then that's how he came up with the character. So he said this is also his oldest story in this volume, the one that he wrote,
Mm.
understand. Yeah, he said. So that was that's what made him, how do you say this, that's what made him um uh think of that story. So it was, yeah, it was kind of very interesting. I think there was like a movie of something like that, right? Like Rain Man or something, like, of people that are becoming super intelligent, that you almost there was this other, you saw the meme, France, of Morgan Free was it Morgan Freeman, where he asked, what if we use 99% of our brain? Let me show 100 here. Which movie? Let me uh let me search that very quickly. I think it's Lucy. Hello, France. Hello, hello. Yeah, Francis can't hear me. So I think, yeah, Francis said something about PLDT cutting off. There's like a underwater cable issue of the PLDT. But in any case, I think let me go back to what I was saying. So it's how do you say this? It's the premise is like the movie Lucy, that starred I forgot her name, the one from Avengers. Uh, Lucy movie. So it was like the film. It's Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. Black Widow. Basically, she was the main character of that. So it's like her evolution into becoming something very super smart. I have to watch this film again. I forgot about this film, but yeah, it was. There's like a point there where Morgan Freeman was like, what if we use 100% of our brain or something like that. So that was Lucy. So it's very similar to that. It's like following a person who was initially average in intelligence, and then very uh exponentially increasing. And so I like how Ted Chiang was able uh to give us a view. And the thing that makes it difficult to write is like it was written in first person. So and then Ted Chiang was really able to convince that this guy was really becoming super intelligent.
Yeah.
Franz, you can hear me now again?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, but I think, yeah, I was saying it kind of reminded me of the movie Lucy, the one where
Oh
there's a
yeah.
meme about you. You saw the meme with Morgan Freeman. What if we use
Yes.
100% of our brain? That meme, right? That's from that movie Lucy, starring Scarlett Johansson, and
Yeah.
essentially that's what happened to her. She became like insanely intelligent eventually. I have to watch that movie again. Now that, yeah, I couldn't recall. I can't recall, like at the end it was like, it became very weird. Like she was like existing like throughout the entire time. Like she was like during the dinosaur ages, during the present. It became very weird. Yeah. But yeah, so Francis was still really getting disconnected. So I think maybe if we stop here, initially when before Francis came in, he said he only read Tower of Babylon and Understand. So maybe we can stop there, and then put the other stories into another discussion. uh but yeah, so just a very is how do you say this, just to provide us a very nice timeline of the publication history. You can see here, Tower of Babylon was first published in Omni in 1990, and then Understand was published in Asimov's in 1991, and then followed by the rest of his short stories. So this book actually expands over like more than 10 years, because the most recent one, Liking What You See, was published in 2002. So it's like a 10-year span of short stories. Franz, hello. I think
Yeah.
Francis is back. Yeah. So I was saying maybe we can we let's just discuss Tower of Babylon and Understand, because that was like our initial plan, like you said, right? When we messaged, you only found Tower of Babylon and Understand. So
Yeah.
then maybe we can schedule the rest of his short stories, so that we can also discuss them in depth some other time. What do you think?
Yeah. It would be
Yeah,
good.
because I think, yeah, that you said something about PLDT, right? Oh, yeah, Francis is gone again. So I think, yeah, it will really be nice to discuss the rest, very more in depth in future episodes. But let's wait for Francis to come back, because we have a lineup of how do you say this, the book discussions in the upcoming months. So let's just wait for Francis, and I believe for the month of August. Franz, you're back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so these other short stories, Franz, let's like put them in the future, so that we have like banks of short stories that we've already read.
Yeah.
Should we need
Yeah.
them?
That's good.
But so this month is fantasy, right?
Yep.
So I'm proposing for our next meeting, which is, I don't know, in 2 weeks or maybe in 3 weeks, first week of September, depending on you. Let's do the Emperor's Soul. This is by
The Emperor's.
Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Let me send a link on the chat. There's like, I saw
Okay.
a full copy, yeah, in the internet. It's a novella. It's like around 100 pages. The one that I'm gonna send you is like 170 plus, but it's because
Mm-hmm.
the per page is very tiny. So, but it's actually like around 100 pages only. It's a novella by Brandon Sanderson, which is which is
Oh.
yeah. So it's interesting. It's only short. It's a novella, and
Mm-hmm.
it's in the same planet, I should say, of the novel called Elantris, but they're not directly connected. But yeah, it's a novella. So the Emperor's Soul, and then you have this drawing. So very very interesting. I've read this before. I can vaguely remember it, but I think the one I remember is that there's like a prisoner, and then they're asking her to do something. That's that's like the extent of my recollection. But so I have to read this again. It's 100 pages for our fantasy discussion. And then
Mhm.
so I sent you, Franz, the future one, right? Of course, after fantasy, so that's September. Of course, we already mentioned last time that we will be doing the Fisherman, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the Fisherman by
I'm
John Langan.
I'm
So
looking forward to that.
I'm actually like about 80% already. So it's
Mhm.
good. It's good. How far along are you in the novel?
I still haven't started it.
Oh, but yeah, so it's gonna be towards the end of September, so or maybe like
Mm,
first week of October. So the next one, the how do you say this? The next upcoming one is the Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. So he's also the one who wrote the Stormlight Archive series. But I
mm,
think, yeah,
mm.
so like I mentioned, Franz, in the chat, I'm also so after the Fisherman, that September horror, we plan to also make October as horror, right? So that we discuss towards the end of October, it's Halloween. Okay?
Yeah.
And I would, because since you said you haven't read this, I was assuming you read this already. So I think we should go for Junji Ito's Uzumaki. It's like a graphic novel. It's a manga, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, we need to discuss this. This is awesome. Spiral into horror. But you know what Uzumaki means, right? In the
Yeah,
like the Japanese. Huh?
spiral.
Yes, yeah, Uzumaki. Like every time, because that's like the family name of Naruto, right? And then he has like the art style is like spiral, and then there's like Rasengan and all these things. But after I've seen this, yeah, every time I hear Uzumaki, I don't think of Naruto. I think of Junji Ito's excellent horror novel. So this is for October towards the end. So that's like Halloween, and then after that, we said we swap sci-fi to instead of sci-fi being the first one, we make it a second. So
Mhm.
sci-fi will be in November, and then I think this is like one of my favorite sci-fi short stories of all time. Let me look for it. This is Isaac Asimov's Nightfall. This is the title of the short
Mm.
story. Nightfall. Okay. So I think, yeah, it's also up because it's towards December. And then I think, so I mentioned, France, in December, I think instead of Stormlight Archive, I'm thinking maybe we should do, because we're already doing Sanderson next for the Emperor's Soul. Maybe we should do the Malazan Book of the Fallen next, because the nice thing about Malazan Book of the Fallen is that there are 10 books, but per book it's shorter than one book of the Stormlight Archive. So I look at the Gardens of the Moon, the first book, it's only like around 500 pages or something like that. So
Mm.
it's a typical length of a novel. And the nice thing is there are 10 books and it's already done. So we won't be like, so the weird thing about Stormlight Archive is like Brandon Sanderson projects it to be, his goal is for it to be 10 books, but then right now we're still in book 4. So
Okay.
I think, yeah, maybe we're gonna forget. So the nice thing about Garden Malazan's Book of the Fallen book, there are 10 books, it's already done. And again, it's like one of the most epic fantasy out there. And I haven't read it, so we should read this.
Yeah.
So this is the first one, Gardens of the Moon. So let me know if
So
you can find a copy that I'll share it with you. So you have, as usual, if you have an epic fantasy, you have maps and stuff. The
yeah,
weird thing about
maps.
this guy is he has, in the first page, he has dramatis persona. I haven't seen that in any fantasy books I've read. Like he outlines already all the characters that you're gonna be encountering there, which is weird. and then and then the story starts. Yeah, there's like a poem and everything, and then the story starts. So yeah, I think this is, if you look at the things that they say about Malazan Book of the Fallen, it's also, they said it's also very epic. It's up there in with other fantasy books. Okay. Oh, I think, yeah, Francis is disconnecting again, but yeah, it's like I was saying, there are 10 books in total. So let me just show in here, because the one I have on the Kindle actually contains all the 10 books already. So let me just show it. here. These are the title of the 10 books. Gardens of the Moon, Dead House Gates, Memories of Ice, House of Chains, Midnight Tides, The Bone Hunters, Reaper's Gale, Toll the Hounds, Dust of Dreams, and The Crippled God. So I think, yeah, let me just show this, flash it like this, and then wait for Francis. So that if you're interested, so the author is Steven Erickson. That's the author of this. That's the author of this. How do you say this? Book right here. I think, yeah, Francis is still taking some time to reconnect. So one of the nice things I like about the Kindle is that, they have like editions of books, like omnibus editions, where the entire series is already in one book. So like, if you're gonna be bringing this, there are a lot, but I would be glad to have a copy of these books. So the thing is, I have a copy of book one, Gardens of the Moon, is in my office in NIP. I didn't. It's like a last minute decision to change Stormlight Archive to Gardens of the Moon. So I'm gonna be bringing that. I think it's even still sealed. So I'm gonna be opening that book, and then reading it from there, because if you have fantasy, like we've mentioned before, it's actually nice reading it on a physical copy than a Kindle, because sometimes you have to look at the maps, you have to look at the glossary, you have to look at the list of characters in this case, for example. So it's kind of very convenient if it's like a hard copy versus a Kindle one. But the nice thing about Kindle is you have 10 of them in a single copy. So very awesome. Okay. So yeah, let's just wait briefly. So let me just recap if you want to follow what we're gonna do. So we're gonna be doing Emperor's Soul for August, and then September we're gonna be doing The Fisherman, and then October we're gonna be doing Uzumaki, and then November Nightfall, and then December Gardens of the Moon. Franz, you're still there? Are you back? Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was just showing Franz the list of books, the 10 books in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. So the first one's called Gardens of the Moon. And then all the way up to the last one is called The Crippled God. So there are 10 books in the series. So yeah. So that's we're gonna
Yeah.
target that for December. Okay? So the next one, again, the Book Lovers Club number 8, it's gonna be The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson.
So,
9
yeah.
is The Fisherman by John Langan. And then 10 is Uzumaki. So this is gonna be in October. Uzumaki by Don Junji Ito. And then 11th, which is of course November, is gonna be Nightfall by Isaac Asimov. And then the 12th on December is gonna be Gardens of the Moon, book 1 of the epic fantasy by Steven Erickson. Okay? All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think I also sent to you, Franz, the list and the link of the Emperor's Soul. Okay. So with that, yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, in the future we're gonna, if we have time, we're gonna dive into the other short stories of Ted Chiang. But you have any? Oh, I forgot to pin you again in the monitor. But you have any final words, Franz, before we end? Hello. Oh, I think Francis disconnected again. So I think yeah, I'm just gonna it's already dark outside, so I think I'm just gonna end this without Francis. So I apologize about that about his connection, but in any case, yeah, I think okay, I think Francis is back again. Okay, yeah. Francis messaged me saying that he already read Nightfall. I also already read Nightfall, and then it shoot up to becoming my favorite sci-fi short story of all time. I was saying, Franz, Nightfall is like my favorite sci-fi fiction.
Yeah, I
Nightfall.
think you mentioned it to me before then.
Yeah,
I found it in
it was be nice. Yeah, I have to read. I have to read it again because I know what it's about, but it's when you discuss it, so you have to read it again. But in any case, yeah, I
Yeah.
was saying, I think, yeah, I was already closing, France, the episode 7. So you have some final words. for our
Yeah.
July. Again, this is the July episode, even though we're doing it in the middle of October. Oh, Francis is gone again, so I think I'm just gonna end it here, and thank you so much. Let's give Francis, a few more minutes. So what else can I talk about? So since I'm Uzumaki is right here. So let me talk about the book that we're gonna be discussing this October. So Uzumaki, it's my entry to Junji Ito right now. So you can see this book is like 1,344. This one book. Right now I have like 20 books now of uh okay, so I think I was saying I have 20 books of Junji Ito, but I think Francis already saying that it's already okay to end it. So let me just confirm to him. But yeah, so this has been Book Lovers Club episode 7, the July edition, even though we're doing it in the middle of August, but hopefully the next one, the August edition, Book Lovers Club episode 8, The Emperor Soul by Brandon Sanderson, hopefully we can do it within August as well, towards the end. Okay, so this has been Marvin. Thanks. Francis is back. I was about to say goodbye, Franz.
Yeah, goodbye, folks. Sorry for the constant
No,
disconnection.
no problem. Yeah, I was like, I was just inserting a lot of information while you're away. So again, this
Mm.
is episode 7. Franz, maybe you can say the goodbyes.
Yep. Thank you again for viewing, and see you again next episode.
Okay. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.